I saw this movie once, Joe said, where aliens infiltrated the Earth and secretly used their technology to change it so it's habitable for them. That's what's happening now, and humans are the fertilizer. It's not fair. He reached over and rubbed the girl's legs. I'm sorry. This should never have happened, especially to you. At that point, a sound like 1,000 engines revving roared in the distance, and Joe turned around. Enormous, dark octopus-like machines with wildly flailing tentacles were tearing apart the ground like weed whackers, sending up whirlwinds of debris. They were moving with incredible speed. Joe sighed and turned back to the girl. See what I mean? He said. I wish I could have known you, even if you were married. I bet we could have been good friends. He got up and lay down beside her. The concrete severely hurt his burned back, but he didn't care. He watched the machines as they came closer. I know I'm going to die, Joe said, and closed his eyes. He thought about his life and felt he only had a few regrets, which didn't seem to matter. He'd miss his friends and family the most, but didn't want to think about that or what might have happened to them. All the simple pleasures like playing video games, eating junk food, and even stocking produce at the grocery store, he would miss. Then there was a girl, and suddenly a memory buried deep within his mind resurfaced. It was the ants. Joe was sitting on his lawn watching a group of ants gather sugar from a pile he'd poured out on the sidewalk. He thought it was so neat the way they marched in a perfect line. One ant in particular always managed to carry twice what the others did, and Joe liked him the best and named him Antoine. He watched for a long time until the pile became about a teaspoon. Soon the ants scurried out the hill, led by Antoine. Joe could identify him because he was a bit bigger and glossier. As they gathered up the rest of the sugar and headed back to the hill, Joe was delighted to see Antoine with a double load leading the others. Unfortunately, he was in such a state of happiness, he didn't see Tommy Rogers ride up. Tommy hopped the curb on his bike and rode over the ants, crushing them and nearly Antoine, who almost escaped. But Tommy saw him and smashed him with his high top. That's when Joe screamed and tackled Tommy. Joe opened his eyes. He didn't really care that the machines were so close, rattling his bones and lungs, debris flying everywhere. He knew the meaning of his memory. With his left hand shielding his face, he turned to the girl. She was so beautiful, and he'd wanted so badly to help her. He felt the shame worse than any pain he'd ever experienced. Like the ants, all he'd wanted was a bit of sugar. A crushing feeling coursed through him, and he turned back inside. The machines were upon him, their tentacles just about to start tearing up his legs. In despondency, he said, Let's get this over with. Then the machines ground him and the girl to granules, for they were no more than insignificant insects.